All right, we are back with another Drive Across 65. Uh, Season 1, Episode 2. We are giving you guys some NFL futures, some predictions, some hot takes, some fantasy football here and there, giving you some guys to watch out for, some guys to drop on your draft board, some guys to bring up on your draft board. Now, I want everybody to realize the gimmick behind the Drive Across 65 is because we do live in a state where sports betting is not legal, and we literally do hop on the interstate and drive across 65 to wager. Like it's a fun, clever name, but it's
It's
really
truth.
yeah, it's the proof in the pudding. It really is what we do. So we left you guys off with we were in the AFC. We got through the AFC South and the AFC East.
East. Yep.
We are going to open up with the AFC North. First of all, second week, Pete, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Looking good, man. A little sunshine.
Little sunshine. It's July in the Midwest. It's burning hot, but we're not baking underneath the sun.
Feel good, man. Feel
We're
good.
good. And I just want to let everybody know this episode 2 will be better than Star Wars episode 2 was. You can put that in the bank.
But not better. I'm not going to go down the sequels argument. We're not getting into pop culture. We'll be here all
4,
day.
5, and 6 was great.
Let the fourth be with you.
Yes.
All right, so leading off with the AFC North, I know we had mentioned before that we do have different perspectives. We are our own person. And as much as we agree in spots and handicapping, there are going to be some situations where we disagree. And we're going to lead that off. All right, so we're going to go AFC North, the Cincinnati Bengals, the defending runner-up of the Super Bowl.
Defending division champ, defending conference champ.
In a little pregame, we were just riffing, talking about where we sided, getting the feel for each other's spots, because that's what we do. I mean, we talk, we get each other's perspectives. He teaches me, I teach him. He usually doesn't learn, I usually learn. I'm high on the Bengals. Pete?
Not so much.
Not so much. And the hottest take, and we're going to clip this, and I'm so excited about the wording of how this is going to come out. Pete, tell me what you said about the Cincinnati Bengals.
The overarching idea I have behind the Bengals, and I'll get a little deeper into this as we discuss it, I think they will be better as a football team this year than they were last year. And at the same time, I think their record's going to be worse.
So that sounds like an oxymoron.
It does.
Okay. Now, there could be some obvious truth to that. Strength of schedule was brought into the equation when you were providing evidence for why.
Yes.
And that's a big factor. I'm of the firm belief that the AFC North was not strong last year, but I do also believe that it's not going to be strong this year. You'll have punching bags in the Cleveland Browns until further notice. The Steelers without Ben might be an upgrade. Don't know who's going to play quarterback. And the Ravens are a question mark. I mean, hopefully you'll have a better year with Lamar healthy. But as it stands, the AFC North defending champs are in prime position to defend their championship. I'm going to let you start it off, Pete, and give us some reasons why you're not a believer. I'll let you guys know where I stand on coming back around.
I'm generally surrounded by Bengals fans in my day-to-day life, so I love you guys. I really do. I got a lot of respect for your team. I was rooting for you in the Super Bowl last year as a 49er fan. I certainly did not want to see the Rams win it. But that said, we all know what the Bengals' Achilles heel was last year. It was their offensive line. And they took great strides to make improvements
Definitely
there.
improved. Definitely.
They made their improvements on the offensive line. They added Alex Kappa, who was a stalwart. One of those guys goes under the radar for Tampa Bay. He wears a Super Bowl ring.
No cap.
They added Ted Karras, one of those Belichick guys. He can play center. He can play guard. They added Lyle Collins from the Dallas Cowboys, which was a huge pickup.
Huge.
So, yeah, You won 10-7 last year. You won your division. You made the Super Bowl. You were 3 points away, well, 4 points away from being Super Bowl champions. And the one problem with your team improved. How in God's name can I sit here and say they're not going to do as well this season? So let's talk about that. Josh did mention it, strength of schedule. The metrics that I'm using tell me that the Cincinnati Bengals had the league's easiest schedule last year. Part of that was the division. It didn't perform the way some may have expected.
Not the way a traditional AFC North would perform.
Correct.
With the Steelers, the Ravens have been improving across the last decade.
Right.
Obviously, the Browns not so much, but nevertheless.
So the Bengals won 10 games last year, and they made it to the Super Bowl. I am not necessarily swayed by that. Their first playoff game was against the Raiders, and we're going to get to the Raiders when we get to the West. That's one of the worst teams I've seen in the last 10 to 15 years to make the playoffs. And for the Bengals to win that game was expected. So
You could go as far as to say it's the worst Las Vegas team to make the playoffs.
I would think it might be, at least in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think the Golden Knights were decent one year. Then we've already talked about this in episode 1. We discussed how Tennessee, as a number 1 seed, similar to the Raiders, maybe not one of the weakest teams to make the playoffs, but maybe the weakest team in the last 10 to 15 years to be a number 1 seed. Even though that game was at home, we both discussed, and a lot of people we've talked to discussed about how Cincinnati should have won that game.
Absolutely.
And they did. So to this point, they're in the AFC Championship game as a matter of expectation. They're playing the Chiefs. Now, it seems like last season, Cincinnati had the Chiefs' number. They beat them in the regular season after falling behind at home. They did the same thing in the playoffs in Kansas City. I am not taking anything away from them. That was extremely impressive. But an overtime victory by 3 points doesn't sell me on the fact that they're capable of doing something like that again next season. So by a matter of 3 points, the perception on this team shifts from had a great run to made the Super Bowl. And that shifts the expectations. I can't buy into that. Their win total, 9.5, tells me that if they do just as well as they did last season, wins-wise, they cover. They go over.
It tells me that the brainiacs, the odds makers, and the sports book have the same perception as you do, and it's smoke and mirrors to the public. The over 10 looks like, to me, a bad value spot. Now I have the Bengals at 10 wins, but 9.5 is definitely supporting your perspective, Pete, and it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. And I think there's a lot of justice to putting emphasis on strength of schedule. In the broad scope of it, the AFC North is soft. It's going to be soft this year, and then people are going to put that into account also. So,
yeah, we're 2 teams away from discussing the Ravens.
right.
And I will give my thoughts on the Ravens when we get there, at least in a little more detail. But as of now, I think Baltimore is very undervalued.
So
just
let's
to say
go.
that.
We'll get there too. So let's go outside of the AFC North. Like I said, I'm a firm believer that it's soft. You got the Bengals playing the Cowboys. They got to play the Saints, Titans, Chiefs, Bucks, Bills, Pats. You see strength in that schedule outside of the AFC North that will lead you to believe that 9.5 is on the dot number, if not.
I think it's too high. They're playing a first place schedule this year. I do think the division is not what it has been, but I think it's enough to make them not have a cakewalk through it. One thing we need to remember about the AFC in general this year is that they all got 9 home games last year. This season, that flips. The NFC gets their 9 home games, and the Bengals will have the traditional 8 home games, 9 on the road, of course.
Which might benefit them because Paul Brown is not a luxurious stadium by
It's
any
not.
means. The travel is a factor, obviously, but if I had the choice, I would rather play in Dallas rather than in Paul Brown Stadium.
They're going to be playing in Dallas. They're going to be playing in Foxborough. They're going to be playing in Tampa. Even though we don't love Tennessee, they still have to play that game in Tennessee. They're playing at New Orleans, and then people are going to diss on New Orleans this season because Drew Brees isn't there. But Drew Brees wasn't there last year. He wasn't there the year before, even though he physically was. He became a shell. He was hurting the team more than he was helping it. They still got a solid team. Cincinnati has some cats on that team. No
Some
pun
Bengals?
intended. Yeah, no pun intended, but I guess it was. Jamar Chase is obviously the real deal. If Tyler Boyd, your number 3 receiver, that's a stacked.
Strong. That's
pretty stacked. Like they improved their offensive line. They don't have superstars on defense, but they got great players. And you can even argue someone like Trey Hendrickson is a superstar. They're gonna be better. They're gonna look better. They're gonna win 7 games. I think there's something to be had for the Super Bowl honeymoon. Over the years, teams that lose in the Super Bowl tend to miss the playoffs the next year.
You can't argue facts, man.
There are some exceptions, like last season, Kansas City was coming off a Super Bowl loss and was 3 points away. But keep in mind, they were Super Bowl champions the year before.
Right.
So that's a run. This team is good. They're going to stay good until something changes. The Patriots lost the Super Bowl to the Eagles in the Philly special game. Came back the next year and won the Super Bowl. That's also an exception, but also keep in mind they were Super Bowl champions the year before, part of a run. So a team that comes out of nowhere, similar to my San Francisco 49ers in 2019, get to the Super Bowl, lose a game you could have won, same for the Bengals, come back the next year flat. A lot went right for the Bengals last year. Okay. I don't count on all those things going right again.
So I could see a 6-0 sweep in AFC North. You beat the Browns twice. Depending on the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh, you could beat them twice. The Ravens, let's call it a split. All right, so it's 5 wins, right?
That's what you have them at, yes.
Well, yeah, I'm spitballing it.
Sure.
So let's split the series with that's 5 wins. Did they get by the Saints? Yes or no?
I say no.
Do they get by the Falcons?
Yes.
Do they get by the Panthers?
That game's in Cincinnati.
Yep, right before the bye week.
My instinct says yes.
So, who we got left here? They get by the Pats?
No.
Jets?
They lost to the Jets last year. That doesn't mean they will this year, but they did lose to the Jets last year.
Pete is talking me off. So I handicap this game. I have it at 10. I think Vegas has it right at 9.5. I think a couple of these games could come down to a coin flip. I think I'm going to use this term over and over. It's smoke and mirrors. You got the returning team, improved offensive line, weaker conference, weaker division, and their team total is at 9.5. No juice either way. No, they're not trying to sway you to go over and under. It's -110 either way you look at it. I liked it at 10. I like the Bengals to win the AFC North at +190. I am going to step off my high horse. I'm going to back Pete, and I feel like there's a reason that we're being swayed to 9.5. I'm gonna go under. Bengals 9.5. You're just gonna change my whole format and landscape in this conversation. That's fine. That's what we're here to do. Teach, learn, educate, drop knowledge. Bengals -110 under 9.5. We're both on that.
Yeah, I'm going to take a 5-minute break and go massage my ego really quickly because that
No,
felt
it's
good.
right here. That's fine. No, I got it. It's right here. Here, do you see it? Yeah. How's that feel?
But just to reiterate on the Bengals, again, I love you guys. I love Bengals fans. It's one of my favorite picks, taking the under on the Bengals.
So, moving on in the AFC North, after Cincinnati riots because they don't. That city, man, I love that city. They don't have a lot to hang on to, man.
They
got
really don't.
really bad chili. The Reds and
The Reds aren't having the best time of things.
yeah, and the Bengals. So on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've alluded to this a couple times. You got Trubisky and Pickett probably going to battle it out. Probably right now battling it out in training camp for that starting spot. I see Trubisky winning the spot just based off of
Experience. I see the same thing.
Yeah, Pickett has a chance. So they have a Thursday night game against the Browns, a Monday night game against the Colts, a Saturday game late in the season against the Raiders, a Week 9 bye. So the Steelers, Mike Tomlinson, has never had a losing season.
Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, sorry.
You're thinking of LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin, sorry.
Both great, by the way.
Yeah. Dropped the ball there. Mike Tomlin, thank you. Never had a losing season. He's also never been in the situation he's in with not knowing who his starting quarterback is going into OTAs.
He inherited Ben Roethlisberger and held on to him for 14, 15 years.
Time.
Yeah.
The whole time. Now, there is, he's still going to have a solid defense. He's still got the Watts. One on defense, one on offense, obviously, but Watt's still doing the thing. Give me a reason. Their team totals at 7.5, Pete. Give me a reason it goes over.
Well, you mentioned it. Mike Tomlin.
Tomlinson.
Mike Tomlinson, the lesser known of the two. He always puts together a solid team. Of course, with the help of his front office. There's been a little bit more upheaval in Pittsburgh this season than usual. They're not a team that goes out and signs big-time free agents. They added a few guys this year. They got Miles Jack from Jacksonville. He fits that defense like a glove. They picked up a good offensive lineman, solid James Daniels coming off the Chicago Bears. And I can't believe these words are going to come out of my mouth. I think Mitchell Trubisky is a decent pickup. As a 49er fan, when the Bears traded up to number 2 to draft him, I laughed like I was watching my favorite episode of South Park. I couldn't believe that happened. I never had faith in the dude. I don't think he was good in Chicago. But that said, he took a year, went to Buffalo, got to sit behind Josh Allen, got to sit with Brian Daboll, learned a thing or two about what being a quarterback is beyond what takes place on the field.
Right.
And now he comes into Pittsburgh, and he was the number 2 pick in the draft. And this is something we've heard a million times. He was taken ahead of Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson.
Whoop.
So he was the savior in Chicago. And I think by law, the Bears aren't allowed to have a good quarterback. So that was never going to work out.
I think that's written down somewhere.
It might be in the Illinois State Constitution for all we know.
It's written down.
So he's coming into Pittsburgh now. It's his 3rd team. He's been around the block. What are they expecting of him? Not much. Just don't turn the ball over.
Right.
Make an occasional throw here or there. Get Najee Harris the ball. Let the defense keep us in games. I'm not worried about Trubisky. I'm not coming here and saying they're going to go over because of him. I'm saying they can go over because I'm not worried about him.
I'm going to add a word to the sentence that you used earlier. Trubisky learned how to be not only a quarterback off the field, a successful quarterback.
Sure.
There was a ton of success up in Buffalo. He learned a lot. It's going to be meat and potatoes for the Steelers, right? They're going to rely heavy on Harris in the run game. So it's going to be up to Trubisky or Pickett. I mean, if Pickett comes out and he stands out in OTAs and training camp, I mean, he could win the job.
He could easily win the job.
Whoever it is, just don't fumble. I mean, that's right. Really got to
first do no harm.
So, back to what I said in episode 1, the NFL, in my eyes, is points driven. All right, I love the old school meat and potatoes, play defense, run the ball, run it down their throat. In games, 10-6, 13-7.
I'm a little turned on right now.
So I love that perspective, but that's not the league we're playing in anymore. Their team total is set at 7.5. You're getting it's 115. Take the over. Even money on the under. I have them at 7. Even with as soft as the AFC North is, I got Tomlinson with his first losing season. I can't see. I can't find ways for them even winning late into the season in games where teams are resting or not playing at their best. I have those winning those late. I have them win those late games and still at 7 wins. I can't find a better spot for them.
I'm going to disagree. Pittsburgh is going to be in the playoff hunt. Whether they make it or not, I don't know. They weren't supposed to make it last year, and they did. It took a bit of a weird set of circumstances to get them in, but they made it. And they just hover 500 at worst. And we're going to mention this. This is about the 14th time it's been mentioned. He's never had a losing season.
Right.
But he can even go 8-9 and have a losing season in this bet can cash. Pittsburgh, to me, it's slightly better than a 500 team. I have them at 9-8.
So we agree the defense is there.
The defense is there.
Okay, so you lost Juju,
You did?
right? You have a stud in Najee Harris. You have a question mark at quarterback. Let's pretend it's as much praise as we gave Trubisky at the beginning of breaking down the Steelers. Let's pretend it's Trubisky. Where do they get their offense? If Trubisky can't win in Chicago, where do they get their offense?
Well, I'm not counting on Trubisky to win a game for me single-handedly. I think they can play the field position game. They can win with that team in that division where they play in that kind of weather. They can win with 21, 24 points. They don't need to score 35 to win too many games.
If Pittsburgh has a rainy, snowy season and it comes down to meat and potatoes, man, I support it. I guess we'll have to check the almanac before we put any solid.
I mean, they've got
a
a home game late in the season against the Raiders, a team that plays in hot and warm weather in Las Vegas. And before that, they played in Oakland, so warm weather all around. Got to go cross country to Pittsburgh in what will probably be Christmas time, close to Christmas time. Best case scenario, it's 2 of your toes freeze off instead of all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that kind of game is a game they win. Their schedule isn't daunting. There are some tricky games on there, but they get Atlanta, who I'm not high on. They get the Jets, I'm not high on. They open week 1 in Cincinnati. Doesn't surprise me to see them win that game and jump off to a 1-0 start.
For the record, it would surprise me.
Okay. But you don't remember the last time you saw a bad Steelers team. And for them to lose this bet, they need to go 7-10.
I know you're a generation and a half ahead of me.
At least.
So I don't remember seeing a Steelers team without Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay.
So do you go back to the Terry Bradshaw times?
I think his last season was the year I started really watching football.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't truly remember him, but I do remember Bubby Brister playing quarterback for the Steelers, and he's before Neil O'Donnell, if you remember him. And I remember Tommy Maddox, who was there right before Ben Roethlisberger.
I don't. Yeah, I do remember Maddox. I remember playing with him on Madden.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say they beat the Browns twice.
Maybe.
The Browns are going to be the punching bag again until further notice. We'll get to them. Maybe Jacoby Brissett at quarterback. I don't know. I don't know who's going to be their quarterback. Let's say they beat the Browns twice. Let's just say they split the series with the Ravens. They play the Ravens twice. Yep.
They do.
So
And the Bengals twice.
So let's say they can split that series with the Bengals. I don't believe it, but let's say they.
For the sake of argument.
So get a win against the Falcons, right? There's your 5. You said they could beat the Saints.
Not the Saints, Dolphins.
Yeah, they're not beating the Dolphins. Have I mentioned Mike McDaniels is the new head coach over
I
the
love Mike
Miami
McDaniel. I
Dolphins?
love him.
Well, and here's my argument. Okay, and broken record. Points are going to be the deciding factor in a ton of these games this year and in the future with the way the NFL is going. And the Dolphins are going to score points. The Steelers are not. I mean, they're not. Are you getting 200 yards and 5 touchdowns a game out of Harris to compete?
No, but you don't need 200 yards and 5 touchdowns.
In my NFL, you do.
In your NFL, you do.
To get those points.
The Raiders were the team we were searching for as far as a team that I thought they were going to definitely get the win on.
So we
game
are on
me.
opposite sides.
We are.
I'm going to take the under for even money, under 7.5. Rest in peace to Mike Tomlinson, and welcome in Mike Tomlin as the new head coach of the Steelers. And callback, and he's going to have his first losing season.
I'll eat a little of the juice here. I'm taking the over.
115 for the Steelers. And that brings us to the Cleveland Browns. So this one's tricky, guys. This one, hopefully we'll have something figured out, and we can. That'll be a callback later. With all of the trouble that Deshaun Watson is going through right now, maybe that's poor wording. With all the trouble that surrounds Deshaun Watson right now, there's no team total posted for the Browns. They're a running back heavy team, right? You said, give me some players you're high on the Browns to convince me.
Well, speaking of the running backs, they got the best 1-2 punch in the league.
Correct.
Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt.
Correct.
And they
if they stay healthy.
Yeah, and in Kareem Hunt's case, out of trouble himself. They both offer different things. Kareem Hunt's a former rushing champion, for crying out loud. They do have an effective running game. They have a solid offensive line. This was a team that was snake bitten last season. The way they started, even though their record didn't reflect as much, they looked like a borderline top tier team. Things didn't work out for them, of course. They're the Browns. They're the Browns. I mean, they wound up finishing 8-9. They were outscored on the season. They played a middle of the road schedule. Even though I've always kind of advertised myself as a quarterback doesn't mean everything kind of guy, pardon me. Baker was hurt last year. He was hurt, and it affected the team. I like Baker. We're going to talk about Carolina when we get there. And just things didn't work out well for the team last year. They, to me, doubled down on that by trading 3 first-round picks for a guy they might not get this season. And for a guy that if any other suspicion comes up about him in the future, about anything, it could be highly detrimental to his availability.
So I believe I read that 20 out of the 23 cases against him were settled.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm not a legal beagle, so to speak.
Right. So that's where that's the complete reflection on why it's hard to handicap what's going on in Cleveland. There's no team total posted. They have a Super Bowl prop posted.
They do.
I don't think I'm gonna bet.
Not something I'm interested in firing at. No.
No team total posted. We don't know who their quarterback's going to be. They'll have a defense.
It'll be Jacoby Brissett if it's not Deshaun.
So with that being said, look on your draft board on fantasy. I actually ran both of their running backs last year for a while until, like you said, they were injury prone.
I mean, when Chubb gets going, he's an RB1 any given week. He can be the top scoring running back. He had a couple of games like that for sure. We should mention they did add Amari Cooper, and we have mixed feelings on Amari. We know the talent's there. We've both been snake bit by him in fantasy in the past.
Yep, last year.
Is he a number 1 receiver anymore? He wasn't in Dallas. CeeDee Lamb was the one.
And who's going to throw him the ball?
Who's going to throw him the ball? I don't think Jacoby Brissett's that bad, but he's not an NFL starter. He's a plug and play, we need you for a couple games kind of guy. He's not a guy you run with.
He's an all-time backup guy.
It's hard, and I might regret this going on the record like this. Cleveland to me sounds like a 7-win team, maybe a 6-win team. I don't know what their team total is going to be, so it's probably going to be 6.5. So I can have to it'll sit right between what I'm saying. I think they're going to find a way to win a couple games they shouldn't. They do have the Texans. I think they did sweep the Bengals last season. That was kind of fluky. One of the games didn't matter,
Right.
so we're not going to hang that
Was that the
on
safety
Cincy.
game? Was the safety game last year? No, it wasn't against the Bengals, though. Never mind, sorry.
But there was one of the games where it really didn't matter. I'm not going to hang that sweep on the Bengals, but the record states that the Browns did sweep that series last year. They've got Atlanta. You guys starting to catch on. I'm not big on Atlanta this season.
Great tight end.
Great tight end and one for my dynasty team. If Shelby's listening, I'm still coming after him.
Also, their Falcons head coach, man, I know he got his job being the OC for the Titans and having Derrick Henry, having that offensive line. The coaching branch is the route most people go. It's you go special teams, OC, head coach, whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
But in some situations, you have teams that are so talented, the coordinators get credit for not putting in as much brain power as they should, or reverse role, Benemy over with the Chiefs, not getting enough credit. And we'll see this year if that holds true or not. I don't think the Falcons are going to be good. I think they're going to look for another head coach soon. I think you get a lot of credit hidden behind Derrick Henry. We'll go down that road when we get there.
Absolutely.
Just branching off. Nevertheless.
Not to sound like hedgers, guys, but we're not sure on Cleveland. We have no line to go off of, at least not from Barstool. And that's all that matters, what Barstool gives us. And
Pete has them at 7. I have them at
30. Seven's, I'm closer to 6 if I had to commit.
Because I look at, like, if everybody lines up, you hike the ball, there's no one there to catch it. You know what I mean? So the defense just grabs it and runs it, and they don't win any games. I don't know. That's weird. I'd love to be able to handicap it. I can't. Moving on to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Pete, go off.
Okay. I love the Ravens this season. I do. Their over-under is 9.5. Baltimore were 8-9 last year when everything that could go wrong did go wrong. I mean, tell me one break this team had last year. Everybody got hurt. They lost so many games by 1 and 2 points. You flip 2 of those. And that's a fair assessment to flip 2 of them because a game like that is a coin flip. All of a sudden, they're 10-7. They didn't have Lamar Jackson for a lot of the year. I think I started a game for them in the secondary last year.
I see you out there. I think you were number 57.
And I was once upon a time a safety, but that was like the one area of the team I think where they were relatively healthy was at safety. They had to go for a 2-point conversion in a 1-point game at the end of the fourth quarter last year because they didn't feel like they had the players to field the defense in overtime.
Not because they didn't have the kicker that could.
Well, sure, that's the best kicker I've ever seen.
Ever.
I mean, I've seen all the way back prime Morton Anderson. He was always my number one. Justin Tucker is the kicker I would have kicked me a ball to save my life, especially an extra point. I would feel pretty happy about that. But he makes the extra point. They go to overtime, and once again, I'm actually starting at corner. That's how bad it's getting. So
you look good out there, though, man. You look.
My coverage looks tight. Then I always give up the reception. It's
the PIs
yeah.
You get touchy.
Yeah. So Baltimore to me, 13 wins. Yeah, and I'm not gonna. If I was offered a line for them to win 13 games, I would take it because the price would be right. But for me to say that they could win 13 makes me love a 9.5 over. They're coming back with a vengeance. They're a team I would not expect to win the Super Bowl. There's something about their playoff performance that troubles anybody who's watched them. But they win in the regular season. When they got their team together in 2019, they were number one in basically every metric that was available except winning a playoff game because
Right.
Tennessee took care of them. But in the regular season, and that's what we're talking about here, folks, they win. They win, and they win convincingly, and they win something. And then you don't need Lamar to throw 40 times a game.
Not only do they win in the regular season, you can make a living off betting them preseason because Coach Harbaugh, I always butcher that too. I'm the worst about pronunciation.
You nailed it.
Thank you. He's so competitive. He doesn't want to lose preseason. I think it's a double-digit win streak in preseason games
That's
that they're
crazy.
winning right now. I mean, just betting the money line, even if you got to pay, -3, -3.5 to win. I mean, it's free money. They're just printing out money because he refuses to lose. He wants to keep the competitive edge all the time.
It's unfortunate we only have 3 of those preseason games this season, as we did last season.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid to have this come back and haunt me potentially because I don't think it's going to happen. Easy cover, 9.5 over.
So I was high on the Bengals to start the AFC North. I had them. I liked their team total over. I was falling in the trap, and Pete educated me. He's over here just dropping tons of knowledge, just feeding your Oz family, just giving you all kinds of information to bet on.
I forgot how to count to 12 though.
12 is hard.
Yeah.
So I was high on the Bengals. He opened my eyes a little bit. I'm going to take the Bengals off the pedestal. I'm going to raise the Ravens. I had them right at 9. We'll see. I'm a Lamar believer. Okay, I watched him. I remember watching Lamar at U of L and him scoring 50 points going into the fourth quarter and having to trot back onto the field because their defense was giving up so many points that he had to come out and score again. I support him. I believe in him. He's a hell of a talent. He's an all-around good guy. We're going to go with it. Over 9.5. And the Ravens, are we in agreement here? Ravens, AFC North, plus 165.
I'm all over that.
Yep.
I should add, I love the Ravens draft as well. They drafted a guy in Tyler Linderbaum, who you guys can tell by now as you've been listening. I like my beefy offensive lineman. And this guy is a center extraordinaire. He comes in, starts week 1. Wouldn't surprise me if he made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. They draft Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. These are guys that are going to be immediate contributors. I love me some Baltimore Ravens. I do.
All right. Your AFC North champions, plus 165. I don't see any value in the Steelers, none in the Browns. You can tinker with the Bengals if you want to. I'm not against it. I'm backing my partner here. As I said, the Elon Musk of sports betting. We're going to go Baltimore Ravens plus 165. And we are going to be moving on to the AFC West. We're going to kick it off with the Kansas City Chiefs. A bunch of pickups for the AFC West Chiefs. Juju Smith-Schuster, we talked about earlier, getting picked up from the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be interesting, I think. Tyreek Hill, at any given time on the field, he had 6 eyes on him. He had three players that had to know where he was at all times, which it freed up a lot of talent on that team. It freed up Kelsey. Did you know his actual pronunciation? Now, put the crown on my head for a second, okay? Travis Kelsey, his actual last name pronunciation is Kels, but it was pronounced Kelsey so much in the media that he just never fixed it. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Travis Kels.
Kels.
Yeah. Great guy. Great beard game.
Why are all the short last names so hard to say?
So losing Hill, we're gonna see how that affects Mahomes. You got a Thursday night game out of the gate, second game of the week against the Chargers. You got your Monday night game against the Raiders. Bye week in week 8. I like that bye week for them. Coming off the Niners, heading into the Titans. Their total is 10.5. Pete, what do you got?
Doesn't a 10-7 Kansas City Chiefs team sound like a massive disappointment?
It sounds like
It sounds like they failed.
yeah, but yeah.
And I can't buy into that. Patrick Mahomes is one of those special ones. He can carry a team. Losing Tyreek is not ideal. Don't get me wrong. Those two guys clicked. They still have enough with Mahomes to put up points almost as they please. The Kansas City Chiefs' problem has always been their defense. And it's what's preventing me from jumping on board with them as a true Super Bowl contender. But the AFC West, to me, and we're going to get to this as we cover the other teams, more hype than is warranted. A little bit more sizzle than steak.
Somebody please turn on the AC, guys. The hot takes in here are getting kind of ridiculous. Where's the management team? Will y'all put a fan on Pete?
I mean, I could always use one.
I'm talking to Pete last night. I'm like, hey man, I'm down to the last 4 teams. We're in the AFC. I got the AFC West, and my brain is gonna hurt. His reply, not for me.
Get in a little Chad mode a little bit sometimes. You gotta step up sometimes and act like it.
Absolutely, wow.
But
the toughest on paper conference division is the AFC West, and he's like,
I think it's the NFC. I think it's the NFC East, and that's gonna be a fun one when we get to it.
Insane.
But yeah, a 10-7 Chiefs team just sounds like something went wrong, and these guys have won the division like 89 years in a row. Maybe we're like 6, but until the champ gets knocked off, I'm sticking with the champ, and it'll probably take 11 wins to win that division. And I don't see any reason why they would lose more than 6 times this season.
I am going to support the exact opposite of your take here.
Awesome.
We're going to go, and look, they added MVS. They got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith. Those 2 players, you put them in a trade package for Tyreek Hill, it's still not enough.
No.
I mean, you got to.
They're not going to cover Tyreek. I agree.
So I think they take a step back this year. I think it'll be a huge lesson for Mahomes. I think it'll be a humbling experience for him. Their team total 10.5. You like the over?
I do.
I got them at 9 games this year.
Okay.
I think the division's tough. I like the under. You're getting even money both ways. It's -110 over under 10.5. I got them at 9 games, taking the under. And spoiler alert, I do not have them winning the AFC West.
Doesn't sound like it.
On to, look, it's a team that is going to win the AFC West. Your Las Vegas Raiders, not mine, but the public's Las Vegas Raiders. With the huge addition of Devontae Adams to that offense, Josh McDaniels. Now, I know he's had some rough head coaching stints, right?
Whether he's actually coached the team or not.
Right.
The Indianapolis Colts situation definitely stands out.
Yeah, so nevertheless, from what I've been hearing, they're locked in. They're buying in. He's not entirely taken the Patriots culture to Las Vegas. I don't even know if that would be possible. But if I'm going to support your coaching tree theory of Belichick, you got to believe that McDaniels is adopting a team that was already not in a bad spot. Added the piece, like I said, adding Devontae Adams. AFC West is going to be tough. I really, really like the Raiders this year. Their team total is at 8.5, over under 110 either way. Shh, don't tell nobody else, okay, guys? Because if the books find out about this, we're going to lose all the edge. I got them at 11 games this year, plus 650 to win the AFC West. Pete, talk me out of it. You're not going to be able to go into.
I am going to try. I think the Raiders will finish last place in the AFC West. So this was a 10-7 football team last season. They were 10-7. They made the playoffs. They made 2 of the sexiest additions in the offseason, Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones. Those are names. Those are guys you plug into into your video games that step up and do well.
Those are names. I love that.
Those are names. They were 10-7 last year. They were outscored by 65 points in the regular season. That expectation based on that has them as a sub 500 team. So even if that's true, let's just call them a sub 500 team, then of course the addition of Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones gets them over the top. Chandler Jones is a health risk. He's not somebody I count on. Devontae Adams, we've never seen him without Aaron Rodgers. I believe he will still be a very good wide receiver, but he will not be the game breaker, dominant type player that he has been.
And he might not need to. So you're going to see that 2 tight end split coming out of Josh McDaniels' offense. You're going to see a ton of tight end production, and I wanted to mention that too. There's 2 tight ends.
Yeah, Darren Waller, Foster Moreau are both solid guys for sure.
As far as fantasy goes, man, if you're looking for a tight end, though, those are going to be some guys that are going to get plenty of time on the field, a lot of production, especially out of Derek Carr. He likes going over the top to those big guys.
I still see the Raiders' offensive line as a weakness, and everything starts at the offensive line. If they can't protect, then Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, whoever winds up carrying the rock for that team this season, not going to see a whole lot of daylight. Derek Carr is your perfunctory, average NFL starter. Not going to kill you, not going to hurt, not going to save you. He's going to put up his regular numbers. He's a borderline fantasy starter, matchup dependent type guy. The defense outside of Max Crosby, I don't see a whole lot there. Unless of course Chandler Jones is healthy. I just can't count on it. I like to go with what I've seen and what seems more likely. And Chandler Jones being healthy for 17 games doesn't strike me as likely.
Again, I think it's going to be a point-driven NFL season. I think that you're going to get a ton of points out of this Raiders team, especially with Josh McDaniels leading it. The double tight ends, I love that the 2 tight end offensive line split. The addition of Devontae Adams is huge. Running back Josh Jacobs, please don't correct me. Josh Jacobs?
No need to.
Okay. They're solid in every position. I love it. I love the Raiders. Plus 650 to win the AFC West. The total at 8.5 going way over. I got him at 11. Pete, what do you got?
I got him at 6.
6
We
wins.
got him exactly, and we got it in the mirror. You got him 11-6. I got him 6-11.
6 wins.
So the AFC West has gotten all the hype in this offseason. Every team improved. Every team did the. They can't all go 11-6, 12-5. There's going to be teams losing in that division. I don't think there's ever been.
It's going to be the Chiefs. We just talked about it.
We did talk about the Chiefs, yes. I think the Raiders are getting the hype, and it's unwarranted. It's one of those not quite to the level of the Dolphins, but off-season championship title winner, not necessarily translating into on-field success. So we're a little bit different on this one.
Everybody welcome your AFC West champions, Las Vegas Raiders.
And if that happens, I'll make up for it by getting the Ravens right.
So on to the Chargers.
The erstwhile San Diego Chargers, currently Los Angeles.
It's so hard to say. And it's 2 words, too. Like, they couldn't have been like Nevada Chargers and really just threw it off. You know what I mean? It has to go.
Well, not playing in Nevada.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it could have been one solid name.
It could have been the West Coast Chargers.
There you go.
I mean, if you got New England, why not West Coast?
Yeah. Charge it up. So Chargers big pickup in Khalil Mack, or was it a big pickup?
Yeah, I think it was a big pickup. He goes back to the division where he broke in. So he knows the teams in that division. I might be contradicting myself a little bit here by expecting Khalil Mack to be healthy when not expecting it from Chandler Jones. But he hasn't had the litany of injuries. And he's also younger. The Chargers trainer is actually my cousin's former dog walker. He moved up in life. I mean,
he knows the regimen. Khalil's gonna be fine.
But they added Khalil Mack. They added some under the radar guys: J.C. Jackson, Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson. Those last 2 guys are middle of the D-line guys. The Chargers' biggest weakness last season was stopping the run. It kept their defense on the field. It tired them out. It didn't give that offense a chance to go out and do what it can do. They're going to get off the field a lot quicker than they did in past seasons. They kept Mike Williams. To me, that's one of the most under the radar, underappreciated, underrated re-signings in the NFL this season.
Go off, King.
Yeah, all these unwords. Underappreciated too. In my own time only. Anyway, the Chargers are a team that by all accounts I should be in love with. One thing holds me back.
They definitely fit the Pete metric.
They do, but the one thing that holds me back is that they're the Chargers. Ooh. And there's such history there, and it just seems like they will find a way to look like a 12-win team and be a 9-win team.
Mm-hmm. Philip Rivers has entered the chat.
I guess. I mean, just there's something there. Man. I mean, like they have different coaches, different guys, and they're it's the Spanos family stink, maybe. I can't explain it.
Doggummin.
Yeah, doggummin indeed. Something. Yeah,
his sideline antics were all time. You could sit there on repeat with those and just giggle.
He is the ultimate Nickelodeon bad boy. Him.
Oh yeah.
I should like the Chargers as a dark horse Super Bowl winner. Not a favorite, but as a dark horse. I just can't get on board with all of that.
You can find them at plus 15.
You can find them at plus 1,500. So $10 will win you, $160 in total.
Yeah.
That price entices me so much that I feel like I shouldn't.
Plus 2.5 to win the AFC West.
Okay, and that's another one, 2.25. I'm gonna at the 10-win mark right here. Their over is minus 134. The under is plus 110. Just because of the juice I'm getting, I have to pick the under, and I'm not even fully sold on it. I'm not fully sold on it. The talent's there. The talent is absolutely there, and if they can uncharger themselves, then sure, 12-5 seems plausible, if not realistic. But there's just something about this team that I can't put any weight behind them.
That I said it, you disagreed. That division's tough, man. That division's a headache for most anybody. And then we'll talk about the last team here in a second with the Broncos, man. But just everybody up and down, all the rosters, wide receivers, quarterbacks, defenses, man. You're looking at going out and it's just getting your head beat in every game, and I think it's going to wear on a lot of these teams. It's going to be tough come time for playoffs and Super Bowl. I'm not looking for AFC West to get there. AFC West team, I think they'll probably have the best teams, but they're going to just beat each other into oblivion. It's going to be the SEC. You know what I mean? It's just,
the West, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you just play these hardcore teams so much. By the time you get to the end of it, you look like you're 9-5 or 9-6, and then you're better than what your record says, and you can't make the playoffs or you get a bad seed. And
right.
It's tough.
And that's where I see the Chargers falling into.
I have them with respect to the Raiders. I have them covering their 10, right at 10. Like you said, I like the addition of Khalil Mack. Their schedule is tough as far as inside. Outside of it, I like their spot. I like Herbert. Strong arm. Everybody talks about it. Dude can hit a dime with a football 80 yards away. It's insane. I like them right at 10. If gun to my head, Pete said you had to go over under. I would ride with him. I would take the under. You get late into the season, you're not promised any cakewalk games. You still got the Colts, Rams, and Broncos, who might all three still be fighting for playoff position or a playoff spot in general. There's no walks at the end of the schedule. It's pretty soft in the middle. I got them winning maybe 4 or 5 in a row there towards the middle. Hit or miss against the Broncos on the Monday night at home. 10 is the number. I think 10's right. If you're going to force me into it, I'm going to take the under.
And I want to take the over. I do, but I just can't do it.
Last but not least, but very least, because they're going to finish least in their conference and division, unfortunately, for Denver, the Broncos. I don't have much on them at all without, you had Russell Wilson.
They did add Russell Wilson. I mean, that's not insignificant. But the point I want to make about Denver, as opposed to, let's say, 2 years ago with the Buccaneers, there is, I should say, I think a partial misconception that the Broncos are a quarterback away. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. They were 7-10 last season, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. They actually outscored their opponents. So that lets you believe that they should be 500 or slightly better. Their strength of schedule wasn't anything special. It was probably in the lower reaches of the league. Just on the fact that their division has improved as it has tells you that that strength of schedule will get more difficult. Yes, they picked up Russell Wilson, but in doing so, they lost Shelby Harris. They lost Noah Fant. Guys without the same kind of cachet, but guys who step up and do well. All that said, at 10, kind of like with the Colts earlier, who were also at 10, I feel like that's the right number. And on the basis that I don't like the Raiders this year, on the basis that I think the Chargers will charger themselves, I will take a chance and say Denver competes for a playoff spot this year.
Okay.
And go with the over.
Okay. But, not touching the plus 270 on the AFC West?
270 doesn't... I don't have enough faith even at 270 to throw money at it because I don't think they can beat the Chiefs as far as the division. I think they can beat them in a game this season, potentially. I can imagine them splitting the season series, but I don't see them finishing with a better record than them. So I can't do it.
Yeah, you're not going to have a lot of, like you mentioned earlier with the AFC, not a lot of home advantage. So the thin air is not going to play that much of a factor. It'll be interesting to watch, man, because you'll have the Seahawks first game out of the gate Monday night.
What a coincidence that game was scheduled week 1 on Monday night.
Didn't see that
Amazing.
Then you'll have a Thursday night game against the Colts, following up with the Monday night game against the Chargers. Plenty of prep time to play what's going to be a big rivalry there, I believe. Plenty of time for Wilson to prep and make all his prep videos and show everybody how hard he's working and how good he's doing and how he's the best at his craft and how he didn't want anybody to know that anybody was videotaping him while he was out here, and he was shocked that people were recording him go over in-game situations in the 2-minute drill and couldn't believe that people were out there.
He's got his second career waiting for him when he's done playing football.
Yeah, he'll play a quarterback on TV. Be a backup dancer for his wife, maybe.
If he's capable.
Yeah, so I'm not sold on the Broncos. They have a defense. They have a couple names. Will Wilson make the impact that needs to push the Broncos forward? I know the fan base is hoping so. If they had the advantage playing at home in the thin air and you could wear some players out that way on opposing teams where it comes down to gunslinging, I would lean Broncos that one game, not having that home game advantage. I got them right at 10. I could go 9 easy and not blink, especially in this division. I'm going to take the under 10 minus 110, gun to the head.
And let there be no mistake. You and I believe we're both Teddy fans. Teddy Bridgewater's
absolutely.
Good times.
Teddy covers, man. Teddy covered so many games, man.
But let there be no mistake, they upgraded to that position.
For sure.
They did. And Russell, to me, isn't quite at the Mahomes, Rodgers, Allen level, but he is Houdini from time to time. He'll do some stuff that'll make you scratch your head. We didn't get to see a whole lot of that last season. I think he's itching to show us a little bit more of that this year. What I'm hoping for his sake, for Broncos fans' sakes, is that doesn't turn into a detriment. But There might be a game or two this season where you wouldn't have expected them to win the game, but Russell kind of did something at the end
Yeah.
to make it happen. And I think that's the difference in such a close call on the over-under for 10 wins that I'm going to, with a
you're betting
degree of
Houdini?
confidence, give the over.
You're betting Houdini?
I bet a little on Houdini.
Betting on him to unlock the chains right there at the last second, 11th hour. I could see it.
I can see it.
I could see it definitely. How long do you think he lasts in Denver? What do you think his lifespan's left there?
I think at a certain point, every NFL quarterback needs to descend to either I'm going to retire on top or I'm going to be a backup. If he is willing to accept the backup role at some point late in his career, I can see him moving on at one point. Otherwise, I truly see him retiring a Bronco.
I mean, you could see a situation where a quarterback comes out of Alabama, gets picked up at Denver, and gets mentored, and the torch passed. You know what I mean?
I don't see any current Bama quarterback. Maybe some kid in the 7th grade at this point. I'm not a big Bryce Young guy, personally.
No, I'm definitely not. But never. I mean, Heisman winner. Neither one of us were really
Heisman winner, not the best player on his team.
And we'll dive into college football.
Will Anderson should have won Heisman.
So many. I was about to have so many takes on college football, and then you just dropped a bomb. And we'll get to. It's going to be impossible to cover all of college football totals. We'll cherry pick our spots. Some leans that we like.
You guys wait till I tell you what I think about Northern Illinois. I mean, talk about controversial.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to come up with something for Northern Illinois now, aren't I?
Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that, man. They take their team total
The
under 3.
Wolfpack, I think. I'm sorry if I got that wrong.
Guys, that is wrapping up. Do you have anything to add?
I mean, yeah, let's talk about maybe who wins this conference.
The AFC?
The whole AFC. So we've got a couple of division winners that we agree on.
Yep. Go off, King.
Actually, no, we only have one.
2.
We agreed on Buffalo. I like Baltimore in the North.
Okay.
You like Cincinnati to repeat, correct?
You talked me into Baltimore.
I talked you into, okay, so there
that's
you
where
go.
the
So
confusion
you've got
is.
Jacksonville coming in out of the South. I've got Indianapolis. You've got Vegas coming out of the West. I've still got Kansas City.
Yep.
I think if no money was on the line, you told me who wins the AFC. I say Buffalo. I'm going to go with the team I think has the most talent, roster spot 1 through 53. You're only getting 300, plus 300 on Buffalo. So I'm looking for a play, a team that I don't necessarily think will win the conference, but I think I can cash out decently on. It's the Indianapolis Colts at plus 1,100.
I have 2, and it's not going to be a shocker to anybody. So, obviously, taking chalk is a very intelligent move. You're never going to miss. I'm not going to go chalk. I like everybody sitting down. I like the Jaguars at plus 5,000. They're going to run the AFC South, guys. They're going to come out. They'll have a strong seed. They'll have some good position late into the playoffs to make a run. And I know you
5,000 is that's sexy.
Yeah. I know you disagree with the LV Raiders. It's hard not to say Oakland. You can get them at plus 2,000. I like backing the Raiders too. I said earlier that the AFC West is going to be a tough spot for a lot of teams. And they're going to get beat up. Iron sharpens iron, right? So expect them to, even if the record doesn't reflect it, which I think it will, expect them to come out guns blazing out of the AFC. My 2 picks, Raiders plus 2,000, Jacksonville plus 5,000.
Now, here's a fun thing to add on to that. I truly don't like the Raiders this year, but I love taking that action because you believe they could win the division. So you get 2,000, a plus 2,000 number. Absolutely. You want to run with them. If I could believe that the Patriots could win that division, I would be all over them. They're also plus 2,000.
Yep.
I just can't see them winning that division minus something unforeseen. Therefore, I can't really jump on a team that I'm expecting to be a wild card to win that conference.
You took the thought straight out of my brain. So what if the Raiders come in hot in a wild card spot? You don't think they can run the table?
Oh, anybody can run the table. I mean, but it's for me, it's difficult this far out to take a team I can't expect to win their division to win their conference. Now I'm just throwing darts, and I don't want to. I don't want to operate that way. Once we have a field established, and we have our 1 through 7 seeds, I can look at like last season, the 49ers were a 6 seed. Not just being a homer, I truly believe they had the capability to run the table and get to the Super Bowl. And because they are the 49ers and they blow double-digit leads in the fourth quarter all the time, they didn't do it. But the fact that the field had been set and we could take a look and reasonably project who's going to play who, then you can make that argument.
Right.
At this point in the season, for a future bet, if I can like a team to win the conference, I got to like them to win a division.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can't, unless I'm just making a play just for fun in case I'm wrong, I can't really put a plus 2,000 on the Patriots, but 1,100 on the Colts I can.
It's going to be really interesting for my mental health to have gone from cheering against the Jaguars to score a touchdown all season last year to cheering for them to win their conference and division. It's going to be wild, but we're going to do it. I got faith in them, man.
I like them for sure as a team.
The dark horse, man. I love the dark horse, and even the Raiders coming out of the West, even if they don't win, you're going to play against teams that you're already familiar with,
Right.
Up and down. Your biggest threat is going to be the Bills, and if you got to roll the dice on playing the Bills to get out of the AFC, and so be it. Then that's where you're getting your plus 5,000 at, or plus 2,000 at.
Right. And remember, guys, this plus 5,000 is not to win the Super Bowl. It's just to get there.
Just to get there.
Just to get there.
Fun little hedge. We'll talk about the NFC coming up. We'll have the NFC starter. We'll have them go in next week. We'll have some more props, team totals, pretty much the same structure as you got going right now. We'll have more information coming out of training camp and OTAs.
Yeah, we're still a little, we still, as far as we know, Deshaun Watson has not been suspended or otherwise dealt with. Jimmy Garoppolo still a 49er.
Still 49er.
So
And
there's a couple of dominoes that might drop. Those would probably be the only ones, but
Schefter said that
we'll come back at you with that when that happens.
he had not been for surgery, he probably would have already been traded.
Oh, he certainly would have been traded.
We're still waiting. But yeah, so great wrap up on the AFC. Some fun predictions. I believe some strong handicapping. Like I said, we did disagree and bump head in a couple of spots, but that'll happen. No two brains are going to think the same way.
Any brain that thinks like mine, I will feel sorry for that individual.
Yeah.
Y'all won't know what goes on in this head of mine.
Double down on that. Wrap it up, Pete. We good to go?
We are good to go, folks. Everybody, thank you so much. We look forward to communicating with all y'all and whenever we can. We like to sound like geniuses. I think we're doing okay.
I think the smartest thing I've ever said is that pineapples do not go on pizza. That is a fact, guys. Remember, it's at the Joshua Sharp. Follow along on social media on YouTube. We're going to be dropping picks daily, MLB, NFL, college football, at least a pick a day. We're not going to force anything. I'm going to step back on that statement. At least one pick a day, unless it's a forced board. There's been one or two spots maybe in the last month and a half where the day it didn't look like anything on the board was worth betting, and we're not going to force action and not like our spot.
When in doubt, sit it out.
We have a month's worth of winning takes, winning bets. Follow along. Make sure you guys are telling. We're doing the best we can to make sure we're delivering the correct information. Pineapples do not go on pizza, guys. That is a fact. Thank you guys for listening.